Welcome to Rich Baker and Friends. My name is Rich Baker. I'm very excited to be joined today by my friend Rina Jakubowicz. Did I pronounce that right that time?
Close. Jakubowicz.
Jakubowicz. I missed it by one thing. Excellent. So, we were supposed to have another guest on, but that guest couldn't make it for reasons. And so I was excited to just talk to you because I feel like between the two of us, we talk, we have a lot to say, and you're like an infinitely fascinating person. So thanks for being on the show.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. And honestly, I feel very honored that you'd want me to have you on your show because I'm sure we'll get to it at some point, but I know, and I've shared it to you somewhat, but you have been very important in my life transitioning here in LA. So.
Yeah, because you're from Miami originally. No, yes, thank you. That means the world, and I'm honored to be part of that journey for you. You're from Miami. Because I feel like I don't really know Florida that well, other than the crazy headlines. And so, could you just speak to the difference between living on a beach city in one place versus another? Was LA that different?
Yes. Actually, it's trying to connect with you over here, so I'm going to turn this up. But
gotcha.
Yes. So if it pops up, I guess there'll be two of me. But double Rina, double the fun. So yeah, Miami is a completely different island and province and its own country. It's not even saying that. Miami, there's Miami, and then you cross to go to Fort Lauderdale, which is 45 minutes from Miami. It's as soon as you cross over to Fort Lauderdale, it's the United States of America. But before that, it is a melting pot of amazing Hispanic people from different parts of Latin America, Central America, the Caribbean, and it's beautiful. So for me, the difference in LA is that even though it's a beach, you can go to the beach and get in the water.
That's the difference.
You can actually enjoy the water, even though I'm not a water person. But it's hot, it's humid, it's not dry and freezing.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a difference in that, and also culturally it's different here because the big shock for me was in Miami. If you don't speak Spanish, you're a weirdo. People will speak to you in Spanish first. You get off the plane in Miami International Airport, and the music is salsa and merengue. The people walking by are all like, "Oye, chico, pero tiene un cafecito." Everybody, everyone's already speaking the language. They're talking to each other, and it's Spanish.
Oh, wow.
It is a totally different place that if you speak English only, you're going to leave Miami very soon unless you want to learn how to speak Spanish. Because you will go to the supermarket or any restaurant and they'll talk to you first in Spanish. Amazing.
Oh, wow. It's funny because I've spent a little time in Miami, but I was on the cruise ship, so I just saw it once a week for a few hours, and then go back. So I didn't really get that much of a feel for it. But the thing that I know Miami from the most, which maybe sounds silly, but is from the TV show Dexter, because it was set there. And, I don't know if they just didn't know or whatever, but there's a few Latinos in Dexter, but it does not give the impression. I mean, the main dude's a white guy, right? And it's you kind of get that impression. I guess what I'm saying is I can't trust television to give me accuracy to the world.
Really? Oh, gee, television deceives us? I would have never even thought of that.
I know. Forgive me, TV. Forgive me. I apologize. My bad. Take me back. I want to binge watch something. Rina, you are infinitely fascinating, but you brought up something right before we hit record that I just have to talk about. This is your first Zoom.
It is.
How long have you been quarantined? You've been doing it for at least 2 weeks. Yeah, so you've gone 2 weeks without Zooming.
In a week. Well, okay, there's many reasons why. One of them, though, so as you see behind me, I have my yoga set, right?
Yeah.
So I have been working my butt off to try to figure out the best platform for me to teach and to obviously, at first, they were all free and donation-based, and then to obviously thinking down the line monetize, right?
Right.
And the less work for me as well. So first I was okay, I got on Twitch and I was teaching on Twitch. And I was all right, let me try this platform. There's not much yoga. Maybe there's there's a way to get in there. Let's just figure it out. And of course, people that from my improv group, like Danny, helped me put that together.
Nice.
And then from there it was Instagram Live and then Facebook Live. And, people kept saying, well, why don't you just Zoom? Why don't you just Zoom? And there was a part of me that was just the extra step for people to like, okay, I receive the payment, then I have to send everybody an email. I click on it. I don't know. There was like an extra, I hate to say it like this, but I wanted to be super easy for people, whether it's like Instagram Live, Facebook Live, for it to be free at first, right?
Sure.
And then I talked to somebody like Union.fit is the platform I'm using now. And it's like super easy. People just go and sign up. You can see the schedule there. The thing with the Zoom is like, I have to keep telling people what my schedule is, when I'm teaching, when I'm canceling, what's happening. It's too many things for me. So, and I haven't even Zoomed with anybody else. So this is my first Zoom.
I'm honored to be your first Zoom. I only started Zooming like 3 or 4 days ago, and I felt behind the curve because like I feel like everything's Zooming.
I know.
So talk to me about yoga, because like yoga is not something I know much about, but everyone who I know in yoga is not only seems to be a really healthy person, but seems to be like mostly like pretty like put together. I don't know, as far as just like like confident, you know who you are kind of people in yoga, and I feel like you absolutely embody that as well. Is that a coincidence, or is that a causal relationship?
It's an illusion. Well, okay, so different people get into yoga for different reasons, first and foremost.
Sure.
And it also depends on your personality and like what kind of yoga do you do to start. So for me, as a type A personality and very controlling person, I 20 years ago, I started practicing, or a little more than 20 years ago, I started practicing Ashtanga yoga, which is like really intense and like, which actually, this is very like heart fluttering for me. About an hour and a half ago, I received an email from my first asana yoga teacher that after he did he taught us like a small group of teacher training, he disappeared to Nepal and became a monk. And like, I have not heard from him in 20 years. Like, I don't know. Like, I just got the email. Like, I was like, Sarkis. Like, he's like, I'm just letting you know that was really exciting. Great. But anyways, I know. I can't believe it. I was like, literally, he's like, oh, I just figured I'd email you before I go back in the dark, because he like goes into like meditation for like days. And, you know, he's definitely, he's a purist. He's on that extreme. I ain't doing that. Fair. I ain't doing that. So no, back to your question. And not for me. Back to your question. I mean, I think what happens, people who practice yoga, is they know, at least, I mean, I'm generalizing, but there's a handful of us who know how much we need it, because we can't really function without it, right? Like, okay. It is a sense of a dependency. It's a resource. It's a tool we use, but like literally, if I didn't have yoga and the philosophy of yoga, which is really my yoga, my anger issues would be through the roof. I would be freaking out right now. Like, I've had like one moment of freak out in the quarantine. And that was just because there was a lot of family stuff happening at once. Yeah.
One freak out is a great ratio.
Yeah. I'm not complaining. You know, what yoga does is prepares you for the things that are going to eventually happen, which are these crazy challenges, you know? And so if you're not just practicing physical yoga is just acrobatics, right? That anybody can do that. A gymnast can practice yoga and like be physical yoga and be really good at it, but that doesn't mean that they're practicing the philosophy. They could technically still be like complete assholes and hate their life and be miserable, right? Oh, can I say bad words on your podcast?
You can do whatever you want.
So it's more about the application off the mat that you can see how people are, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you just might be like interacting with like cool yogis, you know?
I mean, to be fair, I'm very blessed. Most of my friends are pretty cool. Part of that's a curation thing, right? It's like, I can look back at times in my life where like, oh, not all my friends were cool. And then as you got older, you thin them out and you're like, oh, not cool. Get rid of them. Like, sorry, right. You're not cool.
Yeah.
I love it. So you're teaching a lot of online classes right now. So like, if anyone's watching this and interested in yoga, I want to point them your way. How can they find you?
RinaYoga.com. And then you'll see the link there. Yoga.
I love it.
There you go.
We'll plug that again at least once more, you know, because that's that. Why not? Good. Why not?
Why not?
Why wouldn't
we're hanging out?
So I have some silly prompts here that I just thrown out there. There's no right or wrong. It's just like gets us started or whatever if you want them. Okay. This is a thing called renaming. So if you had the power to rename something, and you could rename it because it'd be more efficient or because you find it funny, whatever reason you want, to rename something, what would you rename vegans?
Ooh, that's a good one. Rename vegans. Animal lovers.
Animal lovers? All right, great. Yeah. Can I get the
I mean,
animal
it's kind
lovers
of like,
stuff?
yeah, because it's only reinforcing the positive aspect of it, not that we're freaking annoying people. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, I'm just thinking off the cuff, but that's the first, I mean, we could still be annoying because like, I love animals, but yeah, you're putting a cow in your mouth right now. That doesn't really make sense. Like I love my daughter. I'm not gonna start eating her.
You got a little cow in the mouth? Got a little cow in the mouth? I'll just get
Yeah,
that for you.
you got a little cow right here. A little cow right here.
Cow mouth.
I get cow mouth. Ooh, that's like what's it? Mouth breathers.
Yeah, right.
Cow breathers.
You're right. Cow breathers. Okay, here's another one. What would you rename the National Football League?
National Football League. Oh
Yeah.
man, and
What
this
would
is.
you
I mean,
call it?
I'm being objective or subjective?
No, whatever. It doesn't matter.
The National Fools League.
Yeah. Take that, NFL.
I don't get it. It's like it's just like bunching into each other. It's just whatever. I'm not a sports person when it comes to that. You can't.
Yeah. No, I intentionally gave you something that I knew was close to your heart and something that I didn't think you had any experience with. Because that's the fun, right? It's like you can just rename this stuff. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and then the big one. What would you rename the coronavirus?
Ooh. And of course, this is the yogi in me.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, it's the corona opportunity.
The corona opportunity. Tell me everything.
Please. So this is a really interesting time we're in. Like super interesting. Like I know people are saying like it's hard, it's difficult. Yeah. Exactly. We are living a history that's going to be written in history books. That's like this was an era that like the coronavirus was rampant and people were like, we get to see firsthand what people back like had plagues and shit. Like we know like we haven't experienced anything like this, right? We're living in our little bubble, in our little world, and we're like, everything's perfect. Amazon brings everything to our door. We love Amazon. Like everything is such a cushion that right now is an amazing opportunity that we have to tap into like we are ancestors of those freaking people back in the day that had to fucking go to the well and get water and like fucking pump that shit, and we just go water comes out, whatever. So the thing is, I haven't been sad. The only thing I've been sad about with the virus, supposed to be the opportunity, is that my parents are across the country. You know, like that's the only part. Is like my dad's 80, my mom is 69. Like there's, you know, they're of age and they're still walking and doing their exercise and like living their life, but I'm not there. You know, that's the only part. It's completely selfish. Obviously, it's for myself. But other than that, like I think this is actually. I know I'm not going to be popular with that and say this, but it's really amazing to see how people thrive or, you know, sink or swim, basically fight or flight or however they do under these circumstances, and like people bonding together and like how to adapt. Like we have immediately become online, connected, like the things that we need for us to thrive. We've found a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
Like, people can, I mean, ultimately, obviously the whole toilet paper thing and the water thing, people, you know, totally blew it out of proportion, but there's a sense of like, what can we extract from this situation that we will never probably have again, or we haven't up until this point. Not even our parents had to go through this. Like, this is crucial. This is an amazing time to be like, okay, what's really essential for me in my life right now? Where can I like let go of like freaking, you know, what's the word? I can't think right now. My brain. Grudges, like holding on to grudges and not forgiving people and not communicating. And just like how petty. Like, do you want, like, if this really is the end, which I don't really think it is, but if this really is the end per se, what are you gonna do with these days? What are you doing with today to make it super impactful and like blessed? So that's why I kind of would want to call it, because the thing is, as soon as that, when I see COVID-19 and virus and Corona, everything goes into alert mode, right? Yeah. And instead, it should be like, this is an opportunity. This is, you know, this is a situation. It's a challenge. It's a change. That's really all it is a change.
Yeah.
But we're adding a bunch of other emotions to it because we're attached.
Yeah, I love what you're saying here, and I'm totally get it. I think where people, you preface this by saying this might not make me popular, and I think the reason, tell me if you agree with this, is that when people hear good, when their limbic system is all, the fear part of the brain is just like going ape shit, right? And it's just like, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. And then they hear someone who's able to kind of take a 10,000 foot view and objectively look at it and go, well, I think overall this is, it's a change that's happening. And yeah, you're scared, but like, think about the opportunities that are going to be on the other side of it. And I think it's hard for a lot of people to see that right now. But I totally think objectively, like, it has to be right on the money, right?
Well, I mean, it just depends on how you look at it. Everything's about perspective. I mean, absolutely. Sure. And I get that people are suffering in their sickness. Like, the thing for me is that I'm not afraid to die, right? Like, I'm not afraid of dying. I'm not afraid of people. My parents have to die. Like, I know that that's an inevitability. Like, we're all going to be there. It's just, and maybe it's just because I've worked on, reflected and been at a place where I feel comfortable in it, and I have processed it, and I do study the ancient teachings. So there's a sense of like understanding the bigger picture, right? It's not just this world and what's concrete, but like thinking of the beyond. Yeah. And so that gives me the peace of mind to be like, okay, so if it's my turn, it's my turn. And if it's my dad's turn, it's my dad's turn. Like, if I find out that he's sick, like, okay, I'm going to do some, like, what do I do then? Right. But I think that's the hard part. And I get it. I totally get it. And people are like, I have clients and I have students who are like, I am freaking out right now. What do I do? I'm like, take a deep breath. Right now, nothing is happening to you. You could evoke this by your own stress. Like, you could be causing yourself to get sick, not necessarily, the situation of the virus, but there's a sense of like, your immunity needs to be top notch here.
Yeah, right. And the more we worry, the more cortisol goes through us, and the more likely we are to, have lower defenses for things.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. For me, the word that kind of sums up what you so beautifully painted with your words is the one word is acceptance, right? Like, when you accept that, people die, I'm going to die, things will end, or even accepting nothing's happening to me right now. It's like, oh, I'm just in my apartment, and there's crazy things happening out there, and I can't go outside. But right now, I'm fine, right? Like, accepting that, and then moving on from there. Yeah, I love it. You're just cutting straight to the acceptance part of it.
Right to it.
You're wise, kid. You're full of wisdom, I see.
Oh, am I?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So. And the way we met, I don't think we've said on here, is that you were in my improv class.
Yes.
At the Second City, which you're still on your journey there, right?
Yes, I am, with the same crew, the OG crew, group.
That's pretty cool. Can you just talk about like what your experience has been as someone who, as an adult, a lot of people nowadays are finding improv when they're young, but like, to be someone who's already had a career and established yourself, and then had a good chunk of your adult life through, what was it like to step into an improv class and be in something, I assume, totally different from what you'd experienced before?
Yeah, well, it was literally, so I'll give you a little bit of backstory. I had been here for 3 years, and I'd never experienced like depression in this way, and I had definitely fallen into that because they never really said the part about why LA was different than Miami. But anyway, part of it is because of the difference of LA. And so ultimately I was like, okay, I got to that point where I was like, fudge this. Like, I need to take action for myself. I've always wanted to do improv. I'm not an actor. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I just wanted to like jump in and see. Right. And I did not even think about the friends that I would make. I just thought I was going to go channel some extra energy, have some fun, be gone from the house for 4 hours, and like be done with it.
Sure.
And then, at that time it was challenging. I have like, it's a different family dynamic here. Just, it's great. It's beautiful now, but it's, it has its changes. And so, especially moving from Miami. And so I'm coming into the first improv class, and I like even remember like, you know, we walked into, I remember the room, but I remember the number, whatever, the letter, and just like sitting down in the corner and just like watching and just, you know, meeting you and you doing the whoosh. And we just started right away with the whooshing and the circles and all that stuff. And I was like, fuck it. First of all, these people don't know me. Like, I don't care. I don't know, man. Like, they don't, that was the beautiful thing for me, because in my world, I'm a yoga teacher, right? And like, I have to set an example, and people do look up to me, right? And I have to like, you know, play the role of the teacher. So I can't be like shooting the shit with them as their teacher, because then it ruins the teacher-student, you know, bond. Right. And so ultimately, moving out here, all I had was a teacher-student relationship because I didn't have any friends. So as soon as I stepped into improv, and I was like, oh, I get to be a total dweebo and like be myself, because I'm a complete dorky nerd, and like nobody really knows that. I mean, they do, but they don't, like, as much as I can be, and be like fun and silly and like, nah, and like just like whatever, was like, okay, this is reassuring. So and I still remember the second class. So remember Danny came in the second class? Like,
he was absent the first week and came in that second week.
Right. And when I first saw him improv, and mind you, I had no idea he had never improv before. I was like, I really don't know what I'm doing. Like, this guy's good. Like, this one knows what he's doing. I remember immediately was like, this guy's gonna be on Whose Line Is It Anyway? But it was a beautiful experience of releasing myself in a way that is like positive, freeing, a sense of accepting who you are, like throwing caution to the wind. And it was single-handedly like what saved me last year, is to have the improv class to like go to and be with my friends and just be myself. And even when myself can be like annoying or intense or obnoxious, like, you're an improv, like you can channel it. You can be angry. You can be all these things that you're maybe feeling, and you'll feel better at the end because you got to express it. And having you as a teacher was like amazing. I still remember your first laugh when I first heard you laugh. I was like, this guy's laugh is amazing. I was like, there it is. I was just like, you know, because you were like, serious, 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 explosion. Serious, 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 explosion. So
I love having the gear to be serious and then just to drop it as soon as something makes me laugh, because of exactly those stories. They're my favorite stories that the students tell me. I thank you so much, because I do have a very loud, crazy laugh. But you know what? A lot of people who watch it don't know. Like, when I'm teaching, I'm just very like, you know, and it's just like what you talked about. Like, you had these students, but it wasn't the same thing, right?
Right.
So for me, you know, you're a prime example of someone who was my student, and then when the term ended, like, I'm not friends with most of my students. That'd be thousands and thousands of people. That'd be insane. But there's a few here and there that stick. Does that happen with you in yoga as well? Like, where you will have like a student and like, oh, we've transcended that relationship. Now we're friends.
Yes, although they still see me as a teacher. There's still a grain of like, it depends on how they came into it. But yes, there's like a handful that like we stick and we click and we just get it. But I know, because the teachings are it doesn't mean that I'm not myself around them. It's just that there is a little bit of a filter, only because like, where, you know, when I've had you guys come over and we've had like our fun things with the karaoke and all that fun stuff, like, that's not something that I could open up and, you know what I mean, do in that way. So like, there's those boundaries that are still set, because well, first of all, because it's not my nature anyway, but it's also just because I understand my role, even if it clicks as a yoga teacher, which is different than an improv teacher. Like, let's call it what it is, right? Like, you're like, like, it's more fun and it's more festive and we're going to be silly. And like, of course, come to my house for my birthday and be my improv like teacher and have everybody like improv together. How fun is that? But like, you know, I'm not going to come and teach yoga like, hey, let's go do yoga. Right? It's like, it's a totally different.
Who wants to do some yoga? Yeah!
Let's do.
Party balloons.
You want yoga? Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. I got
Let's
you
do
under
downward
control.
dog with funny hats, you know.
Right. I mean, that would be my kind of yoga, but that's not happening. So yeah, so
Uh,
it is a little different, but there are people that like, there is a part of me that was like, there is a part of me that
oh no, hang on.
didn't have to be a teacher. What happened?
Oh, you cut out for a second. You said there is a part of
Oh.
me, and then it cut out.
Okay, yeah, with some of the students, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
But there have been a couple of students that I'm like, I wish I wasn't their teacher. Like, there's a part of me that's like, oh, I wish I could just like chill, you know. And like, there's a part, but like, no, like, they're still in the back of my head. I'm a teacher, you know, and I have to kind of carry that.
Well, that's super professional of you, right? And like, to see the difference and know it, because I think that, of course, beyond improv and yoga, like, there's plenty of teacher-student relationships that have that kind of dynamic, right? Where if
Right.
you let your hair down too much, in certain situations, it would kind of kill what had been built up. So it's really cool of you to like not only notice that, but to like really respect it, even in times where you're like, oh, I wish it were the other way.
Right. Well, because also you got to think about it, like to have somebody that you look up to in your life as some, like, that you would want. I mean, you know that they're not perfect, but you still see them working on the path and doing what they can and being integral best they can.
Yeah.
Like me with my teacher, like he's a little different, but still, if you like, you want to have that,
Sure.
like if I didn't have him, like I've been looking for him as a teacher, like my whole life. And the fact that I finally found him, I'm like, oh, like, holy crap. Is it possible that I finally found an enlightened being? Like, yeah, like, okay, you want them to treat you like a student to some degree. Like, like I want him to treat me like a student. I don't want him to treat me like an equal. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
There is a sense of understanding that boundary.
Yeah, I think it's the classic idea of like parents who try and be friends to their kids. Cool. It's like, hey, sometimes these kids need just like a parent. Like, they don't need you to be. They've got a friend. Yeah, so like you need him to be a teacher. It's fantastic. It's been so great. So once again, if people want to want to attend one of your classes or just check out your site, you're rinayoga.com, and also at Rina Yoga on social media. Yeah,
at Rina Yoga, RINA.
Dope.
Well, I want to know about you, though. What have you been doing in this quarantine? What have you been up to?
I have an interesting story because, I really started to feel the quarantine really kind of, for me, started like 2 Sundays ago. It's almost 2 weeks ago. And the Friday, I was already scheduled to be in Tucson, Arizona with my girlfriends for the weekend. So I drove up that Thursday night to be there for the weekend, and then she was like, hey, there's a quarantine. You want to just stay for a little while longer? I was like, okay. And then my window wound up getting shot with a pellet gun in Tucson.
Oh, that's right. I saw that. No.
Yeah, someone must have been super late at night and must not made much noise and didn't wake anyone up. But went out the next morning and the window was just shattered. There was a really specific circular hole right through it. And
at least you weren't in it.
I mean, sure. Yeah. Yep. Gratitude. Thankful.
Opportunity. Just kidding. Go ahead.
Right. But yeah. And then so I called the glass place, like, hey, can you come out and fix this? I can't drive my car. It's filled with glass. And they're like, and I think I called them on a Thursday and yeah, we can come out on Tuesday. So long story short, the 3-day weekend intentional trip to Tucson wound up being a almost 12-day extravaganza.
Nice.
But I'm back in LA now. I drove back 2 days ago. I was scared as hell driving back. It was no big deal, but I was just, I was like, what if the car breaks down? What if I get pulled? What if something happens and I have to talk to people or touch people? It's just freaked me out. But now I'm in my apartment. I'm pretty snug here. I got my dog who's made plenty of noise throughout this. Yeah,
they're there for.
And then I started this show. You're my episode number 2 of this show.
Ooh, what an honor.
Yeah, no, I'm honored to have you on. I think you're quite the badass. There it is. That's how a badass dweebo, that's that part.
That's the dweebass.
We'll come up with a name for it. Rina, thank you so much for being on. Really appreciate it. Go to rinayoga.com.